This episode of the Rebel Reads podcast is sponsored by Rock This Way Crystal Shop, jewelry made for busy women who are doing all the things and still trying to stay grounded. If your brain feels full, your energy scattered, or you're just craving a moment that feels intentional, this is for you. Tiffany, the founder, handcrafts crystal bracelets with real meaning, like a little reminder on your wrist to pause, breathe, and reconnect, kind of like the way a good book does. Visit rockthiswaycrystalshop.com and use the code RRSHIPFREE for free shipping on your orders. Hello, Rebel Readers, and welcome back to the Rebel Reads podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl, and today we're chatting with the unstoppable Taylor Cassidy, a TikTok star and the creator of the viral series Fast Black History. Taylor's debut novel, Black History is Your History, drops on October 24th, blending history, memoir, and humor. Taylor brings 12 marked figures to life in ways that are funny, fun, totally relatable, and we can't wait to read it. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in and tell us about your journey and how Fast Black History got started.
Yeah, for sure. So I have always had a love for Black history, and that started in my childhood home. My parents really wanted Black history to be a priority for me and my sister. So we would get lessons like every day in the form of like, tell me the first Black pilot's name and you can go get McDonald's today, or like just little things like that. But they really emphasized it because they knew I wouldn't be getting a very thorough teaching of Black history in my public schools, and that's exactly how it was. And by the time I was a junior in high school, I was in a history class, and I actually really started to see the effect of what a lacking diverse history does to students' understanding of US history and also the people around them, like other Black people around them. I remember a moment where somebody answered a question very boldly and very confidently, said that slavery didn't economically affect the US. And I was like, wow, all right, okay. And so that was around the time of Black History Month in 2020. And I was like, I have to do something. Like this history class, it's getting harder and harder to go every single day and listen to this. I need to do something to teach Black history the way that I was taught. And so I filmed a 15-second video teaching about Percy Julian, who is a Black chemist. And I used jokes, I dressed up as him, and I tried to make it very engaging and make it fun, which is how my parents made it for me. From there, the series went viral, and now I have over 100 videos teaching Black history.
That's incredible. And I love the fact that you're able to make it something too that, people can relate to, or maybe they didn't understand. And now you're bringing it to the forefront and people are able to see it and able to see you enjoying it. And that's huge. Because like you said, it should be more attention brought to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of my goals was to present it in a way where joy and persistence and victory were at the center, because I find in a lot of teaching of Black history, it's mainly focused on the very traumatic aspects of history. So then when people are only taught that, they view Black people in a very traumatic light. So I wanted to teach it in a way where people see the depth and the complexity that goes into the Black experience.
So your debut novel, Black History is Your History, expands on your series. What inspires you to turn it into a novel? And when you started the series, did you ever think you would have?
I actually have a bucket list that I made in middle school. And one thing on the bucket list was write a children's book. So I feel like that was always in the back of my mind, regardless of Fast Black History or not. But once I really started to get in routine with posting the series to my TikTok, I really started to think, how can I turn this into a bigger project? How can I turn this into something that can last for much longer than a short form video on social media? And at first I wanted it to be a TV show. I made a pitch deck, I pitched it to producers, it was a whole thing. But I found that making it into a book format, I felt would be a lot more impactful, because I really did feel like I knew how to be attention grabbing on the screen. But if I figured out a way to make Black history just as engaging in a book as it was on my feed, only teach kids and young adults Black history, but I could maybe inspire them to read more. That's when I started writing Black History is Your History.
I absolutely love that. Having a podcast that predominantly talks from authors and being a reader myself. It's nice when you get a chance to see it on, TikTok, and you get a chance to see it on all these platforms, and it's incredible. But now you have a book, and now they're able to enjoy it and to see like your success. And it just gives a lot of these kids that idea like, hey, we could do this also. Just, coming up with ideas and believing what we believe in.
Yes, for sure. I really wanted that aspect to play a part in the book. In the book, it's not just Black history figures, it's also personal stories from my own life that relate to the story that we're talking about in history. And I wanted to do that not only to share my journey, but also to teach kids how to see historical context and apply it to their own life, so that they could see history from a point of view where it's not just in the past. These things can be relevant today. And I act as kind of like a relatable guiding voice through history that makes it fun. Yeah, that's a huge part of the book too.
How did you choose the 12 historical figures featured in your novel?
It started off with a very long list, like very, very long list. And at first, when I looked at it, I was like, I can't choose. Like, they're all too good. They're all too good. But when it came down to it, I really wanted to choose Black history figures and stories that I knew I already had personal stories from my life and lessons that could easily correlate with their story. But I also wanted to make the list of people diverse when it comes to their careers, what they went through, what they emotionally went through. So I ended up choosing scientists, actresses, writers, astronauts. Like the list is very, very diverse in terms of not only career, but emotional development. And one thing that was like an absolute need was to talk about Maya Angelou, because she was a huge inspiration for me growing up. When I first found her books in high school, they truly changed my life and made me feel so seen. So I knew I had to include her as part of the book.
So when you sat down to write it, how did you plan it out?
I was very organized with this because, to be honest, it felt a lot like writing my Fast Black History videos. So it kind of came natural to me. I use Notion a lot. They have a feature where you can like make different kind of pages in the app. So I had a page for like each individual Black history figure, and I treated it exactly like how I would writing a video. So I would do all of my research and just write down all of the facts that I knew. And then I would start to really sit with it and start to ask questions like, what would I do in this situation? How would this have affected me if I lived through this? And from that, I can start to really form a story to guide readers through, and also to pull from my own experience and combine them. So I did that for all of my figures. I think at the time when I was writing the sample pages for the book, I think I did 3. And so I wrote the chapters out and I made my own cover art for the publisher. Like, what the cover that you see on the book, it's the same format as the cover that I made for the sample pages. It doesn't look as good at all. So like me on the cover with all of the Black history figures' faces on the side, and then the title. So yes, I feel like I was very organized. I was pretty thorough in the beginning process.
That's amazing. I love the fact that you did it from beginning to end, and even when you gave it to them, and like you said, it's different in the sense that they had to add or whatever the publishers do to make it could be released, but it's
Right.
still what you did, and it's still like authentically yours.
Yeah, I mean, Athenaeum, who's my publisher, Simon and Schuster, they are truly cheerleaders. They were cheerleaders for this book, and I can't thank them enough, because it's like they saw my vision just as clearly as I did, and that made it didn't only make it so much easier for the vision in the book to come to be, but it made it so much fun, because it was amazing having somebody able to see your vision and also able to make it better with their ideas too. So it was an incredible process.
Is there any story or figure in the novel that surprised you when you were writing it that you weren't expecting to like find out something about them, or you're like, this is definitely different than maybe you thought when you're initially researching it?
Yes, and actually when I was researching her, the theme of the chapter was going to be completely different until I found a specific story, and it changed the entire chapter. I wrote a chapter about Ida B. Wells, who was a journalist. She was the owner of a newspaper and she fought for Black women's suffrage. People know her story as she lost a friend because he was lynched. And from there, she spent her life sharing other people's stories of family members and people that they knew who had gone through the same thing, and really putting the spotlight on this problem that was going on when it really was not being spotlighted. When I've learned about her in the past, and when people have told me about her in the past, she's been written as this very strong, this very confident and level-headed, straightforward kind of woman who got things done. And she was persistent the entire time, and she knew how to use her voice and speak up every single time. And she just plowed through everything with bravery, no faltering. And while many of those things are very much true about her, like she was very much known for being a very straightforward person, I found a story where she had a moment during a speech about her friend where she broke down in the middle of the speech. When I found that out, it completely shifted my mindset about her. And I started to realize, oh my goodness, I've also been in moments where I felt like I had to be really, really strong during a tough time. But on the inside, I was just breaking apart. And so it changed the chapter to really being about discussing whenever it's time to be vulnerable, to learn that being vulnerable does not mean you're weak. It makes you strong and it makes your story even stronger. And so I got to tell a story of how I was in a place where I was working so much to the point where I put my physical health at risk. And I was too afraid to say that I was tired. I was too afraid to say I was exhausted. And I got to combine that with their story and really show that while these figures have gone through so much, they changed the world in so many ways. They were still human and they still deserve to be soft and have a resting place too.
That's incredible. And it's incredible that you were able to find the information spotlighted, because I agree. I think in the world we live in now, it's very much, okay, this is your image. This is how you are. Like, this is how it has to be. You don't complain. You're not allowed to talk about mental struggles or like stuff that's going on in your life. And the narrative is changing significantly. And it's because of, individuals like yourself. You don't always have to put the face on, even though it's very hard to do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what advice would you give someone who would be looking to put themselves out there from a topic that they love that maybe they didn't know how people would respond to?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think for me, it comes down to understanding that if you're interested in a topic or if you're interested in a conversation and you see everybody else talking about it too, or maybe you know a lot of people who are also doing things around the same topic you want to do, I think it's important to know that even though there are already people already doing it, it doesn't mean that your contribution or your voice will mean any less or that it will matter less. It will be the opposite. It will be extremely unique. And the way that you come to the topic and the way that you come to the conversation with your own specific life story, it will mean something to somebody. And that's a guarantee, because we need everybody's perspective, especially when it comes to history. So my advice would be, come with what you have and know that what you have matters and it's unique no matter what you're speaking about.
I think that's perfectly said, and especially in, right now where there's a lot going on, and being able to have a voice and still be able to feel comfortable enough. I agree. Everyone has different perspectives, everyone has different ideas, and even though there might be, a lot about one topic, it's still someone else's life experience that can be brought to the table that someone might not realize. That this is a different aspect they didn't know before.
Yeah, going viral doesn't necessarily mean impact. And that was one of my points, sharing that even if you affect one person, even if one person points to your story and points to your voice and they're like, I relate with that, or that inspires me, that's worth it. That was worth all the work. That was worth all the research, all of the trial and error. It was worth it for that one person.
Even if you impact one person or one person learns something new, it was all worth the journey.
Right. And I'm truly grateful for this job because I not only get to do that, but it's fun for me. It's fun.
Which I love that. So I have to ask before we bundle up, but what's one fun or unexpected fact about you most people don't know?
About me?
About you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, what do people not know about me? Oh, I'm a recommended black belt in Taekwondo. Now, I got the recommended black belt certification when I was like in 5th grade, so I don't know how well I'll do with like a street fight. But I have achieved being a recommended black belt in Taekwondo.
That's amazing. Taylor, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with me and for letting me, pick your brain. And I'm so excited about your new novel that's coming out. But before we bundle up, tell everyone, of course, all your socials and where the novel will be. It'll probably be on all the regular platforms, I'm assuming. Put it all out there.
Yes, for sure. So you can find me on all social platforms: X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Taylor Cassidy J. And you can find my book on SimonandSchuster.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, wherever you get your books, on October 14th. Or you can pre-order right now.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the Rebel Reads podcast. We have many more episodes coming your way, so be sure to stay tuned. If you love what we're doing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and send a little love our way. Until next time, happy reading.